like I forget where I was, and I started like being very very loosey goosey with my pants. It was like this is I'm getting way too comfortable. And what is coming up in this season, I think, it's a shorter season, and of course we wish we could have done more episodes. But like, I think every episode has such a bang to it, and they're so creative. There's some stuff coming up that I just cannot wait to see the response to. So I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun.
Gold that was found turns out to be Trevor's.
Knew it! See that chiseled jawbone? You can slice brisket with that thing. Oh my God, Nikki's a total MILF. Do you know what that means, MILF? It's so funny.
You know, a young couple could be really fun to watch.
Oh, hell yeah, they would.
Okay, Trevor.
The biggest question that I have for you is, what's it like to be on set day in and day out without pants?
It's a little different every day because there's some days you just don't want to take your pants off. Some days you just feel like having a little more, a little more of a boundary. But it's good. It means that I'm always, you're always getting in the pool. And it's also this is a weird segue into this, but like the show, it's so great to be part of a show like this, and the response is amazing. And we as the cast get to feel a lot of that response, but there's so many people who like our Montreal crew is just amazing. And I will tell you, it really does take a village to hide myself. Especially when I'm sitting. There's a lot of what's that?
Well, there were times because I was rewatching some of your episodes leading up to this, and there are a couple shots where I was like, did they have to go in and digitally like blur that or?
Yeah, I'm sure there are times. I mean, the pilot we did, but we at least we meant to do that. But I'm sure there are times where there's been some blurring. There's a lot of like coordination with cameras and lights and stuff like that. So probably not the answer you were expecting there. But shout out to our crew who makes our show safe for families.
Well, and was there any trepidation on your part of taking a role where you would have to be so exposed most of the time?
Man, as an actor, you're so desperate for a job, you'll do almost anything. So no, there was no trepidation. The only thing there was a little bit of comfort in knowing, okay, this is a comedy. I'd never done a comedy before, so like, if I miss a joke, you pull to a wide shot, my thighs are there, that'll help, get a giggle or something. But I actually remember, like, I kind of forgot about the pants thing weirdly until like the night before we shot the pilot. And suddenly, we were in the middle of a pandemic and I like hadn't seen a human being in a while. And I'm suddenly like walking around my hotel room pantless and running the lines and trying to get used to what would be not only my biggest social interaction I had up to that. It was like December of 2020. So in like, 9 months, but also doing that with 150 strangers staring at me pantless. Like there was a little bit of a last second, like, oh yeah. But we got through it. And now I have like, just the other day, like I think I was in a store like last year, and I just like took my pants off in the middle of the store to like try a pair of pants on. I've gotten way too comfortable, and something else happened the other day. Like I forget where I was, and I started like being very very loosey goosey with my pants. It was like I'm getting way too comfortable.
Well, it may be weird, but I have to ask, what do you wear on set? Is it just flesh-colored underwear, or like what are you wearing?
It's actually changed over the course of the seasons. In the beginning, I think it was just like flesh tone, like tidy whities type thing. And then there was a period where there was like a dance belt thing going on, which I hated. It was very uncomfortable. Hated that. And then there was a period where it was like 2 layers of tidy whities, and now I have this Saks. I should do like ad campaigns for Saks because they're really saving. They're the most comfortable that I've had thus far, and they're like flesh tone. And I think it's just one pair of that. Yeah. So
Nice.
It gives you all the support and protection that you need. Saks, good underwear
Well,
brand.
I'm sure that you're aware, but that's the topic of many conversations of like, wait, what is he wearing?
What is going on underneath
Yeah.
there? Yeah, it was funny. The one time I got to meet Simon Farnaby, who plays the pantless ghost in the BBC version, our conversation very quickly turned to wardrobe and how we keep everything safe and sound. So yes, I can only imagine that it is a topic of conversation that comes up for many people.
Well, and that brings me to my next question. Did you have any experience with the British version before you signed on for this?
No, not beforehand. I'm pretty sure that I mean I knew it existed. But I mean before I got it, before I booked it, I was like, I wasn't gonna go do a deep dive because that's only gonna break your heart because you're gonna
Yeah,
fall in
bad
love
luck.
with it. And, yeah, you don't want to do that. Once I got it, and I'm not alone in this. A lot of us in the cast, I think, were in this boat. Once we got the role, most of us, I think, stayed away because they had a thing and it worked, and it's their concept. They know how to make this show work, and I think especially in the pandemic when I had a lot of time to sit and think, if I had watched what they did, I would have absolutely ended up copying them. And I kind of needed to find my own process, my own way to do it. And then after season one, I watched it. I think a bunch of us watched it, and it's brilliant. If you haven't seen the BBC version, like, run and see it. It's very good. But I'm lucky, I think, that I waited because I had my own kind of handle on who Trevor was and how I wanted to approach this. I remember friends and my brother was like trying to tell me about the BBC version. I was like, I don't stop. I go, he's like, you're a combination of this character. That was like, I don't want to know. So once I had enough kind of with my own fingerprints on it, then I watched it. I'm a huge fan.
That's awesome. Well, and I want to talk to you about two Trevor-centric episodes. In the first season, it's revealed that Trevor has
Oh
a
yeah.
heart of gold, and his reasoning for not having pants is actually quite sweet. Did you know
Uh-huh.
this background, or was it fresh upon reading the episode script?
No, it was fresh upon reading the episode. I don't even think there was a discussion prior to that. That was the Joes and Kira and Talia who wrote the episode. They just the Joe Port and Joe Wiseman are the Joes who are showrunners. The writers' room just, it was such a brilliant idea, and it was really like I had heard fan theories and stuff, and I had some of my own theories, and I think that they at one point asked me, "What do you think happened?" And I gave some thoughts, and I'm so glad that they ignored them because what they ended up coming up with was so much better. So no, I didn't know, but when we did have some discussions in Trevor's Pants about, because one thing that is unique to the show is that the ghosts and this afterlife dynamic is very well established. The relationship between all the ghosts and with Sam and Jay and other ghosts who live on the property, but the dynamic that these characters had with the people who they were close to in life, we don't know what those are. That's what the flashback reveals, and you don't have a lot of time in these flashbacks to establish that. So we did have conversations about like what was that dynamic and how did Trevor play in that group. Where did he kind of rank? And so that's always fun because the backstory they had in life can sometimes be very different than what they are in death.
Well, and I'll say right now, Trevor's Pants is my favorite episode of the whole series so far. So it's so, so good. Well, and then the second season, Trevor's parents arrive, and there are more revelations about Trevor, further highlighting that he has his like positive effect on others. Do you prefer
Mm.
this or when Trevor gets to be very inappropriate?
Ooh, I think the oh God, that's a really hard question. I love both sides, obviously. Um, out of respect to you, out of respect to you, I'll say that because you deserve an answer. I'll say the there are things that Trevor can do in terms of being inappropriate that I think other characters can't do. So it's particularly fun to cross those lines. And the fun thing about Trevor is, he's already so, his pants are off. So in many ways, he's so harmless
Yeah.
that I think he can get away with a certain amount. And then, every once in a while, you kind of reveal another side. And the nice thing about Trevor, I think, is that, he never means bad. Like the North Star for him is always like, let's have a good time. He's a puppy. He's a stinker. It's always like, let's have the party. So that in and of itself I think is a relatable and redeemable uh, um, focus So if I'm doing my job right, there should be some other things I can get away with because at least you know that that's the core.
And I think that's why the character works so well. So you get those
Thank
that nice
you.
mix of both. And then at the
Yeah.
end of last season, there was a mystery pertaining to one of the ghosts being sucked off into heaven, which, by the way, I absolutely love
I don't
that
know
that's
where
the name for them going and ascending.
I think one of the ghosts just got sucked off.
What? Who?
I have no idea.
I hope it's Trevor.
I love that. I love that too. I think it's Trevor's greatest afterlife accomplishment is that he has gotten everyone to use that term.
Were you informed of who would be leaving prior, or was it wait until the first script comes in kind of thing?
No, we knew. Sorry, I had to think about that. We knew so much happened this last year between a strike and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had to remember.
Ages ago.
Ages ago. We knew before we saw the first script what the plan was going to be. We didn't know at the end of season 2, but we found out what it was. And that's great. You know, the Joes have done a great job communicating with us and giving us a sense of kind of what the plan is. So we knew what was coming, and then from that point, it was kind of just like, all right, how do we help sell this and set up for the arc that's coming.
Was there any concern on your part of like, I hope it's not me, I want to stay on?
No, the Joes were great with everyone being like, you're all good, you're all good.
That's good.
So we're very grateful for that. Yes, for sure.
In different interviews, they've been very cagey about and have acted like they kept it from you guys. So I had to make sure to ask.
They no, I don't think that they kept it from us. They're especially with something like that. They were really good with. But there's kind of a weird thing of where you're like, you know, you're trying to hide this stuff from the outside world. It's a funky. It's not something I really anticipated doing as an actor. So it's a different dynamic.
Well, I'll tell you right now, we actually booked this interview before the premiere happened. So I was so relieved because I'm like, yes, Trevor's on the new season. Yes, thank God.
There you go. Yeah. We wouldn't mess with you like that. Yes. I'm here. And what is coming up in this season, I think, you know, it's a shorter season. And of course, we wish we could have done more episodes. But like, I think every episode has such a bang to it. And they're so creative. There's some stuff coming up that I just cannot wait to see the response to. So I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have fun watching you guys respond to it all.
That's incredible. Well, and then given your character's pantsless predicament, sorry for going back to this, but which of the other ghosts like outfits do you wish was your own? AKA on set, who are you like, I wish I had that instead?
Oh man. Look, I won't lie. A pair of pants looks really nice at a certain point of the day, especially a few times a year, or a few times in the year. I certainly wouldn't want what Rebecca has to go through with that thing. I wouldn't want that at all. Isaac's outfit looks like no, I don't want that. All that felt not interested. Who's got the Sass outfit is actually pretty. The Sass and the Pete outfits are pretty. Actually, you know what's great? At least what looks like it. This is such a weird thing, but Thor having a belt is at times looks so comfortable because it's a place he can put his hands and he can gesture from there. It does so I guess I'm cherry picking things. I would like Sass's pants and Thor's belt.
I didn't even think about that. Just by virtue of not having pants and AKA a belt as well, you like what are you gonna do with your hands? There's so many things that like you can just put your hands in your pockets or
Yeah, I literally add that because Sass doesn't even have pockets. So it's Sass's pants. I want Pete's pockets and I want Thor's belt. So it takes a village here. I'm very deprived.
Nice. Well, and then my final question would be, where would you like to see Trevor end up? Do you want to see him get sucked off or?
Yeah, it's a funny thing, right? Because like all these characters on some level really want to get sucked off. But as the actors, we do not want them to get sucked off. It's a funny thing to like for the character to desire that the actor is out of work. where I would like to see him go, I think the fun for me with this stuff is always, I always think that the stuff that sends us back in time is the most fun. So revealing other things and what is unique about Trevor, and Pete a little bit too, but I think more with Trevor is Trevor clearly got up to some trouble in real life while he was alive. So the repercussions of Trevor's actions are still being felt in the world. There are probably some people out there who he really screwed over, and in a plethora of ways, possible ways. So I think seeing some of that stuff play out and seeing the way that, we've had some episodes that do a good job of this, but like, what are the ways that Trevor could see his life through a different lens and maybe try to change something for the better or the worse. It's also a lot of fun to see someone like do something wrong in life and then truly not get the lesson and just continue it in depth. So I think that'd be a lot of fun too.
Well, I can't wait to see where he ends up going because I love the show. I watch both the American version and the BBC version. I think you guys are both great, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you today because, again, Trevor is my favorite character, and it's just what you were able to do with him is just so much fun and is also very distinctly different from the British one. So just kudos for that.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Here for you. Yeah, man, that's so cool. That just really warms my heart.
Trevor, did you knock that vase on the floor to try to kill Tara Reid?
Okay, yes, busted.